में चला जाएगा ये सब. Hello and welcome to Red Sports. I'm Ravi Rao. We're here in Ahmedabad and back once again. Same place where I used to do my 10 a.m. live. The only thing is Ashok has now joined me. He's fought a war and
Escape that trick.
has been able to come back to India cover the final. India was twice, two times the teams have met at World Cups, and both times New Zealand have been the winners. This is, a battle of the best in the T20 World Cup last year. New Zealand and in highlighted South Africa completely. India had a close game, but fired in all departments. How are you looking at this one?
First of all, Gargi, thank you for that warm welcome. This morning I woke up early and went in search of the perfect hitler, but couldn't find it yet. But I'm still hopeful, and I'm sure that when it comes to the teams, they must be thinking of what that perfect hitler is when it comes to the winning strategy. So what will it take to win? But before we talk about winning, let's just step back for a minute. You're right. I mean, if you look at it from a New Zealand perspective, that show, that man Finn Allen, and that show against South Africa, I think that will have bolstered their confidence tremendously, and they will be looking at this match, with a lot of anticipation. As far as India goes, look, in the last two matches, India has posted, I think, out of the four highest totals in this World Cup so far, they have posted two of them. Yeah. So, notwithstanding the fact that Abhishek Sharma, didn't really deliver in the last match, they will still be good, will be confident about their batting because as a team, as a unit, they have actually been delivering. There are a few question marks here and there, but I think I have my own theory on it, and I think it's really a question of do you look at Varun Chakravarti, I think, which is I think the elephant in the room, and say do you look at other options, or do you kind of maintain the morale of the team which has won so far and keep it going because that also has a factor. And I think pretty much that's really the debate. But otherwise, in a mind space, I think both things are in the space.
Yeah, I'm 100%. And when you talk about Varun Chakravarti, a lot of people are talking about can you get us to Yadav. I don't think if that ever happens, and I don't think there'll be any changes in the book. But even if that ever happens, I don't think it will be at the expense of Varun Chakravarti. Because you see, there are two players who have carried this team for a lot of time ahead of the World Cup. One is Abhishek Sharma, the other is Varun Chakravarti, and it won't look good on the Indian management of the after them giving India so many incredible performances. And plus, Varun has been able to get this. I think he's not been able to execute well. I think, as I've known him also said in the press conference, he's putting himself under too much pressure. He's not being able to execute. Sometimes he's too quick, too short. Sometimes he's rushing in. And maybe it's a mental block. Maybe he's getting into his head too much. And he's just got so many variations in his armor. I think he's overthinking it.
Absolutely. 3 points to that. I think the problem is very similar to what Sanju Samson had. And it was a mental block. It was a confidence issue. It was not really a talent issue or an armory issue. And I think it's a matter of coming good, having the confidence, back yourself up. I don't think there is an issue in terms of skill sets at all. In fact, if you ask me, there has been this debate saying that he's got his length right, but are there line variations? Frankly, in his armory, he's got enough uh, different types of deliveries to kind of match up to the situation. So that shouldn't be an issue. Second, I went back and looked at the five T20 bilaterals that India was played versus New Zealand. Kuldeep played a few, Varun played a few. Nothing really spectacularly in terms of data points to show that Varun should, be dropped or Kuldeep should be picked over Varun. On the contrary, if you go back to December 2025, at Ahmedabad, Varun had got 4 for 53 in the match against South Africa. Even against Netherlands, he had got a couple of wickets. So you're absolutely right. He's got the right breakthrough with the right kind of time. And therefore, that's really my point, which is that you need to basically back him up. It's an issue of confidence, and he's bound to come.
So, and I've been saying this throughout this tournament that Varun Chakravarti is only in their place just because of his sheer ability what he can do with the ball. But does that mean that he has himself? I wouldn't say so. I feel Varun Chakravarti has not been at his best, but has been able to get those breakthroughs because he's a league above everyone else. That's what it is. His mystery, his variations, his skill will give him an event. There will be an event happening almost every single delivery. He will be getting the boundary on his face. Which is why I think it's an execution problem and maybe a mental block of that sort. But let's talk about the batting lineup. Ashok, once again, Surya Kumar Yadav is in the midst of a bit of concern. It happened ahead of the World Cup, but then they have put in some good performances in that one bilateral that India played before the World Cup started with South Africa. But after that, one knock against USA, a few cameos here and there, but apart from that, no real impact from the skipper. Are you concerned, or do you think he's been getting his tactical calls so right in the past 3 games that you are willing to overlook that?
I'm absolutely willing to overlook that. As a skipper, I think he's marshaled the team very well. In terms of execution, if you really ask me, even in the last match, I think Ashmeet Singh, I'm giving an instance of execution. He had come with this thought in terms of the line that he wanted to go, and he stuck to it. He didn't, panic and change it, and I think Suryakumar backed him up the same old shoe for Varun. And I think, in terms of the package changes that were made or in terms of, the key decisions with regard to field placements, hats off to it. I think, you have to look at it that India as a batting unit has got this amazing flexibility where you're able to maintain that run rate in spite of a loss of early wickets. And I think if you look at the changing in the batting order that he's been making, it would, it could somewhere have an impact. But I think net, I don't see that as a difference.
Digressing on each of the day, I see Sai right in front of us. And for a second, I thought I smelled a Tesla. Because you've been talking about going to go there and check if they have it at the expense of our stomach.
Yeah, no, but the perfect Tekla, and Tekla has got, methi in it,
Yes, yes.
fenugreek basically, which apparently is good for diabetes. I wasn't even aware of that. But apparently the mix of the masala that you put in the Tekla is what gives you that flavor and that aroma. Yeah, I think we should go and check it out after.
And I've got a strict warning from my mother as well to bring back at least this form. We'll have to go on that hunt as well. That should be done in Mumbai.
Yes.
I forgot. Now it comes. But coming back to Team India, today they practice. India practices under lights. New Zealand will practice in the afternoon. India practices from 6 to 9 p.m. 5:45 is the press conference. Hopefully, either Surya Kumar Yadav or Gautam Gambhir comes out for a press conference. If another support staff comes out, the media will have a collective breakdown like the last time. Um, but the point is, also, what do you want to see India work on in this practice? Do you think just the routine? What do you think will happen?
you know, uh, I think there's a lot of analysis going on right now. But you are at a stage, you've come to the finals. Come on, there is nothing left to prove. What you need to go in with a mindset that we are here to do a job and we'll execute to the plan. I think that's all that you need to tell them. And I don't think you need to really think around too much. It's really about mental toughness.
Absolutely. And I think, having trained this team for over a year now, I have noticed one pattern is that when there is a high pressure game, or if the team is coming off of a bad loss, what they do is they always inculcate these very light, fun team bonding activities. We saw that happening in the Asia Cup as well, and that happened a couple of times in the World Cup. Not every practice session. That happened after the USA game. That happened after the South Africa loss, and before the India versus Pakistan game as well. So it gives you a pattern that there are always these team building activities, team bonding activities when the pressure is at its highest. So the management is doing their job in trying to sort of keep the noise at its lowest. And I'm sure all of the players, as many as have come in the press conferences, have spoken about the fact that they're off social media completely, they're off their phones completely. So, final thoughts before we end the show?
While you were talking, I was just thinking about another data point, so to speak, which is that if you track back all the way to 2023, perhaps even 2021, the two players who are common to T20s at Ahmedabad are Surya Kumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya. And I'm sure that the team,
Yeah,
in addition to what you just said, will also kind of bank on their experience and kind of repose that faith in the two seniors in the team. It's really about having a little bit of banter, a little bit of fun, switching off from social media, like you said. Don't get into the analysis paralysis kind of mode, but really focus now on going and enjoying the game and sticking to your plan.
absolutely. And we'll be back very soon with the entire team. Somit Chakrabarti, Devashi Sen, Shivan Chakrabarti, and Rohit Juglan, and us too. Will be live very soon at 12 p.m. So don't forget to join us there. We'll be bringing you all the updates from Ahmedabad and building up to the much anticipated final between India and